Got some NFL news to discuss here on Four Verts. My name is Harrison Graham. Kyren Williams gets paid. The Rams running back has a new deal. How does that impact James Cook, who recently decided to start holding in as he's looking for a new contract in Buffalo? We'll tell you that. And then we do have a bit of an update on Terry McLaurin's situation as well, as his hold in is ongoing in Washington. That's all coming up here in just a few moments. But listen, football is back. Preseason games get rolling for all 32 teams this week starting on Thursday. And if you're fired up, hit that like button. We're shooting for 250 plus likes on today's show. Haven't hit that number in a while. So if you want to help us out, support the show, and just fired up about football being back, hit that like button. All right, Kyren Williams. He has been extended 3 years, $33 million, which is $11 million per year, of course, gets $23 million guaranteed. My initial reaction is I think that's a pretty good deal for the Rams. Still pretty young. Remember, he missed his rookie year, so he's only played, I think, 3 years now. So he still has plenty of tread on those tires. And that Sean McVay offense, they lean on the run game a lot, and he gets a bulk of the touches. Last year at over 300 carries, so he's a player that is featured heavily in that system. And obviously, you got this Matt Stafford back thing going on right now. And, you know, if God forbid he has to miss some time, they're going to lean on Williams even more. So coming off a big year, you get him locked in for a pretty reasonable price tag, all things considered. By the way, not just last year. We're talking about a guy with back-to-back 1,100-plus yard rushing seasons and 12 or more touchdowns on the ground in each of the past 2 years. He also has 5 receiving touchdowns the past couple of years. Not a great pass catcher, but serviceable enough. Can run the screen game, can dump it off to him. Certainly not a net negative in that area. And I didn't know at first, okay, where does this put him? An average annual value, 7th in the league. That's not bad. Now, that's probably about right. He's probably somewhere between 6th or 7th best running back to like 10 or 11. But typically you have to, when you pay a guy who's a good player, you're probably going to have to overpay a little bit, and maybe you pay the 8th best running back, 4th best money, right? That's kind of what we've been talking about with James Cook. So to not even have him crack the top 6 coming off the back-to-back seasons he did, that's pretty well done by Les Snead and the Los Angeles Rams. And I also think it's just smart to lock him in before Cook. I think James Cook, and we'll talk about this in a second, is a little bit better overall, offers more out of the backfield as a pass catcher, but had he signed his deal first, and depending on that price, that's only going to knock Kyren Williams' price up even higher. So really nicely done by the Rams. And listen, good organizations, they figure out a way to get these things done, and they were able to do just that. This is why you subscribe to the channel. When news drops, we react to it here on Four Verts. We're chasing 11,000 subs on the channel, just over 300 away. Football season is upon us. Going to have my preseason college football top 25 out later this week as well. We'll continue to cover training camps, divisional series previews as well. It's all coming for you guys here on the channel. All you got to do is subscribe. Okay, let's talk about the James Cook impact now, as the Bills running back is still looking for a deal. There's been some mixed reports on just how much he's been asking for. We'll get to that part of it in a minute, but I kind of was just like, okay, let's compare him and Kyren Williams. You look at the last couple of years. It's actually pretty interesting. Number one, the Rams, from a running standpoint, have leaned on Williams a lot more. In 5 less games played, he has 100 more carries, which is a little startling. Now, obviously, the Bills run Josh Allen a lot, so he takes carries away from their running backs. They rotate in some other backs. Cook is used as a pass catcher a lot, so they don't, run him into the ground from a carry standpoint and throw it to him 5-6 times a game. So I get it. There's different reasons. They're different types of backs, but that caught my attention. Obviously, Cook has been more productive as a receiving back overall, not only in receptions, but you see the yards per catch. I mean, Kyren Williams' numbers, those are more like dump-offs, check downs. Cook, they actually design plays for him, but total touchdowns, 7 more for Williams. I still think overall, especially with less utilization, less touches, especially between the tackles, I would rather have James Cook moving forward because there's a little more tread there. He's more dynamic as a pass catcher, but it's much more closer than I would have thought. And in certain areas, you could give Kyren Williams the edge. So then when I revisit this report from our friend Slick Rick Scoops from last week, when he said that James Cook has asked for a deal in line with Saquon's current contract, which he got a pay raise to $20 million per year, I said it yesterday, that's a non-starter. Well, today it's even more of a non-starter. When Kyren Williams, a player in your tier, regardless of who you like better, signs for $11 million per year, that's kind of where you're in range of. Now, I would still argue Cook should get a little more, and you know how this goes. Player in your tier gets paid, well, the next player in that tier, he's going to get a little bit more typically, so I still think Cook could ask for more than Kyren Williams, but the thought of getting anywhere near Saquon money never made sense. Well, now you have tangible evidence and statistical things you can point to if you're the Bills of like, yeah, why would we pay you $20 million per year when the Rams just paid someone very comparable to you and better in some areas, 11. Let's settle for 12 or 13. Like that seems way more reasonable. So now I think that's what you're looking at. 12 million per year is probably where it starts, maybe 11 and a half, and then 15 at the absolute most. But the guaranteed money will be probably the key there, and we'll look at a projection, an updated one here in just a second. Now, Diana Rossini did report this earlier this morning. Now, this was before the Kyren Williams deal, so who knows if that impacts things. She says, I don't get the sense that the gap in negotiations between James Cook and the Bills is as large as other notable hold-ins around the league. Cook's decision to sit out Bills practices is designed to get a deal across the finish line. We'll see if the two sides can come to an agreement. So maybe an indication that the ball is moving here a little bit. We'll see if that Kyren deal speeds that up even more or perhaps slows it down for whatever reason. But here's my updated projection. 4 years instead of 3 for Williams. I think that's something you could pitch Cook as well. 13 a year, 52 overall, 27.5 guaranteed. So basically 2 years fully guaranteed, a little bit on that third year. You top Kyren Williams in guaranteed money by $4.5 million. Seems fair. An additional $5 million almost for a player who's in your tier at the position. If I'm James Cook, I don't know how you really argue that much. I mean, you can quibble with little things here and there, but you're not Saquon. You're never going to be Saquon. You're not getting that type of money. I think you're a touch better than Kyren Williams, so we're going to pay you as such. I think that's a fair compromise and a fair deal for both sides. Curious what you guys think. Who is the better NFL running back? Would you rather have James Cook? If so, type JC, or would you rather have Kyren Williams, type KW? Probably depends on the type of offense you have. If you're an offense that wants to run a lot of screen game, have a running back that can catch the ball in space, I think Cook's the guy. But if you're a run-heavy scheme, Shanahan type of offense, McVay, maybe you go with Kyren Williams. Really just depends. JC for Cook or KW for Williams. All right, a little bit of a Terry McLaurin update before we get out of here. Rossini also had a report on this morning that Terry McLaurin is looking for parts of some of the language that DK Metcalf got in his new contract. Here was the full tweet here from Diana. She said, looking for parts of DK Metcalf's new Steelers contract and his own negotiations with the Commanders, but not necessarily the $33 million average salary. And if you remember, this was the contract, 4 for $132, $33 per year. Only $60 million guaranteed, though. And that's why when you look at DK's deal and you put this list out of highest paid receivers per year, 33. Sure, it stands out, but when less than the half of the total money is guaranteed, that's a deal you live with all day long. If you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you give them the headline of the average annual value, but $60 million per year isn't even among top 10 highest paid receivers in terms of guaranteed money. And at the end of the day, that's what these agents and players push for, because that's the money absolutely no matter what, unless the Henry rug, certain crazy scenarios happen, clauses in the contract, you're getting that money into your bank no matter what. Career-ending injury, you're getting that money. So I think if you're Terry McLaurin, and if this reporting's accurate, give him the respect, give him $30 million per year. That's what Ayuk got. I think he's better than Brandon Ayuk. He's certainly been more reliable. And if you top DK's guarantees, 65, maybe $70 million, kind of like my proposal with James Cook, give him an additional $4 or $5 million guaranteed than what Kyren Williams got. Let's get this thing over the finish line. Like the Commanders, are full steam ahead as a franchise for the first time in my lifetime. Like, they have real momentum. You've got the GM, you've got the coach, you've got the quarterback, you've got a nice young nucleus. Don't mess around with Terry McLaurin. He's done this the right way. He's played when this organization was a joke, when Dan Snyder was still running it. All kinds of terrible quarterbacks, different coaches, different coordinators. Now you're finally good. He's your quarterback's top weapon. He had 13 touchdowns last year, and you're going to mess around here. Just get the deal done. And I think it will, because in the end, I don't really see what the Commanders' alternative is unless they find some receiver for receiver swap, like for Tyreek Hill, because they don't want to pay long term, and you just use Tyreek as a rental this year and reassess next year. I guess you could do that, but even then, does that make sense? Probably not. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of For Verts. Don't forget to subscribe, but also hit that like button. Let's get over 250 likes on today's show. I would greatly appreciate it, and we'll see you guys soon.